بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه أجمعين. We are continuing to discuss the agents of jazm. We have discussed, I believe, 12 up until, or 11 up until now. The last one we discussed last week was man, right, which means whoever. Now inshallah we'll go ahead and share my screen and then you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so the next one is mahma. Mahma is also it means whatever, basically. So the meaning is whatever, and you would use it the same way as you would use ma. So you would say mahma taf'al af'al. So here the question to you would be, is this verb or is this agent making two verbs majzum, or meaning is it affecting two verbs, or is it just affecting one verb?
It's affecting two, right?
Yeah, it's affecting two because it is still, we are still in the realm of agents that affect two verbs, and they enter conditional statements. And you basically, when an agent enters a conditional statement, an agent of jazm, it affects two verbs. One verb in the if statement, the other one in the then statement. So here is the same case. Whatever you do, I will do. Idma means when. And basically this would behave similarly to the other ones, meaning it would make two verbs majzum. It would make two verbs majzum. So in this case, the example is, when you come, I will be generous to you. So the difference between idma and mata, or what was the one that we discussed last time? No, we haven't discussed anything with this meaning. So this is when you come, I will be generous to you. We are we are making both of the verbs majzum, right? We're making the when you come, the come part majzum, and I will be generous to you majzum as well. So here, can someone tell me what is the sign of jazm in this verb? It's like this. That gives you a big hint. You should know now.
The no faulty letters.
Exactly, very good. It was originally like this, right? With a ya. It was originally like this. But because the agent of jazm has entered it, the ya is removed, because we said that the imperfect verb which ends with faulty letters, the way you make them majzum is you omit the faulty letter. So this is what we are doing here. And what is the sign of jazm here?
can't see.
Let me see.
That's I believe it's a sukoon. If I could.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good job. You're on a roll, brother Hadruddin. Barakallah feek. The next one is ayyu. Ayyu. Which means whichever. And this could be, actually this could mean whoever and whichever. It is used for both people and objects. So an example would be ayyuhum tukrim, or yeah, let me actually give you ayyuhum tashtari. Whichever one you buy, I will buy. Is anyone trying to buy PlayStation 5s? I am not, but like people are going crazy over it. It's hard to get, it sells out so fast. It's really hard to buy them.
Yeah, it's probably not like me personally. I'll just wait for like the slim to come out, the slim version.
Yeah, my coworkers, they're like old too. They're like they keep on, like every week they keep on trying, but by the time they get to it, it's all sold out. Anyhow, we're here to talk about akhirah, not dunya. But the reason I mentioned that is the example. Whichever one you buy, I will buy. Whichever one you buy, I will buy. Now, can someone tell me what is making these? What's the sign of jazm here, and what's the sign of jazm here? Look at something that should give you a hint is the fact that you don't have sukoon, but rather a kasra here.
It's being replaced. Well, like originally it was a sukoon, but it's being replaced by a kasra, right?
Yes, originally it was originally no, it actually is. So the reason so it's not being replaced. Yes, there is a kasra, but it's not being replaced because that kasra has always been there. But something has been removed here, right? Because this kasra tells you, because it's not sukoon, it tells you that the sign of jazm for this verb is not sukoon. Then you have two options left. Either it is the omission of noon or the omission of the faulty letter. So you look at it. You look at you try to see whether the verb is one of the five verbs. So you look for the pronoun, either alif or waw. You don't see an alif at the end, nor do you see a waw. So you know it's not one of the five verbs. Therefore, it's not the omission of noon. There's only one thing left. What is that? The fact that it is the omission of the faulty letter. Yeah. Okay. All right. So that's number 12, number 13, and number 14. Do you have any questions as far, or is it straightforward?
It's straightforward, completely understandable.
Alhamdulillah. We go to the next agent, which is meta. Meta means when. It also has the meaning of when. I guess here we could say idma means whenever. Let's make a distinction here so it's clear. So idma is whenever. Whenever you come, I will be generous to you. Mata is when. Mata is when. And one of the interesting things about mata, yes.
Is it like another form of a conditional statement? Because it's like saying like, if when such a something happens, then another thing happens. Is that like
Yes.
okay?
Yes, exactly. So it is still conditional. So it's not a question. It's not like when are you coming? Here, when would be used in a conditional statement because if it's a question, because if you use meta meaning when in a question, it wouldn't be one of the agents of jazm. The only place that meta would be an agent of jazm is in a conditional statement, and that is the case with all of these agents that we were discussing. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So the example be متى تأتني أكرمك. We'll keep it at the same example. Then we go to here whenever or when, sorry, when you come to me, I will be generous to you. Okay, so one thing I forgot all about. Where's brother Alamuddin? Do you guys know?
I have no idea.
I know he had a project, but I'm not sure if he was gonna join today or not.
He was supposed to. His submission for that project was due on Wednesday, so
Okay.
I expected him to be here today.
Can
Should
we
I give him
ping
a
him?
call?
Yeah, can you give him a call before we go any further? I don't know why I missed remembering he's not on.
Hey, he's not picking up. I think we should carry ahead, and I will keep calling him.
Okay, inshallah. So متى متى تأتيني أكرمك. What does that mean? It means whenever you come, when you come, when you come to me, I will be generous to you. And what is the agent of what is the obviously the agent of jazm is meta, but what is the what's the effect that it has had? What's the sign of jazm here? Brother Rajul and brother Haidar, you guys are awfully quiet today. Have you guys been busy this week?
Shake a little bit.
Okay. What
There's
was
a
that?
yeah attached to that. Well, is it the which part are we looking at?
So, so this ya, let me just give you a hint. This ya is the pronoun. It's not part of the verb. And this noon is actually we call it noon al-wiqaya, which separates the verb from the pronoun. So what we should be looking at is like this part, just the top part. So it has a kasra, right? It has a kasra. What does that tell you?
that it's one of the faulty letters.
Yes. So the faulty letter has been emitted. Good, good. And here, what's the sign of jazm here?
Sukun, if I'm correct.
Yes, sukun is a sign of jazm. Jazakumullahu khairan. Now, Ayyana. Ayyana also means when, right? So you may ask, what's the difference between ayyana, ayyana and meta, right? That's a valid question. So ayyana is used for great, very important events. So you wouldn't use, for example, for the Day of Judgment, you wouldn't say mata yawmul qiyamah, right? You wouldn't say when is the Day of Judgment. You would say, just like Allah Azza wa Jalla says, ayyana yawmul qiyamah. When is the Day of Judgment? So whenever, like, the event that's you're asking about, or the event that you're using the events in the conditional statement in which you're using ayyana, are very important events. You would use ayyana instead of mata, right? So here, for example, an important event would be ayyana ayyana ya'ti يوم القيامة يوم القيامة يحاسب الناس يحاسب الناس or let me give you a better example. تحاسب. Okay. So this is saying whenever the Day of Judgment comes, you will be judged. So both of these are very important events, right? When the Day of Judgment comes, and also your Judgment Day, when you're judged in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Both of these are, important events. Now, here, ayyana ya'ti. So what's the question is, what is the sign of jazm here?
Getting rid of the faulty letters or remitting it, right?
Yes. You're on top of it. What is the sign of jazm here?
Sukoon.
Sukun, yes. Okay, so this tells you this is an imperfect verb that has nothing attached to its end, and this tells you that this is an imperfect verb that has one of the that has nothing attached to its end and does not have any faulty letters. And this tells you that this is an imperfect verb that has nothing attached to its end, but the last letter is a faulty letter. Very good. So this would translate to when the Day of Judgment comes, you will be judged. You will be judged. May Allah make all of our judgments easy. Now the next one is aina, which is where, which is where. And this would be, for example, an example for this would be, so this would be wherever, right? It would mean wherever. Wherever you sit, I will sit. Okay, aina tajlis ajlis. Where whoever you are, wherever you sit, I will sit. Let me actually change this. So here the sign of jazm is sukun, and here the sign of jazm is also sukun. This one's easy. That's why I don't ask you guys easy questions. So we have gone 6. We have gone over 6, right? Mahma, idma, ayu. Mata, ayana, wa aina. All right. So the next one is anna. Anna could also mean it could mean many things, right? It could mean wherever, but usually people use it as wherever. It could also mean however. So however, let me see. However you read, I will read. All right. So the sign of jazm in both of these is what? What do you see? Sukun, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So anna taqra, aqra. Wherever you read, I will read. However, I mean, however or wherever, depend. Both are good. This would be haythuma. This would be wherever. For no other. Yeah. So this would be wherever. Wherever you eat, I will eat. حيثما تأكل آكل آكل حيثما تأكل آكل. You. Um, Here as well, this is an easy example. Both of these they have sukun, so that becomes the sign of jazm. Now, the last one we'll study for today is, this also means however, kayfama. Have you guys heard Arabs say kayfa haluka? Have you guys heard
Yes.
that? Yeah,
Yes,
so
yes.
kayfa means how. How is your state? When they say kayfa haluka, it means how is your state? How are you doing? So if you add the ma to it, it becomes however. However you sit, I will sit like that. So you would say, however, let's say, however you play, however you pray, I will pray. And this is a statement to who? Who is the statement we would direct this to? There's only one person you would direct this statement to.
Prophet sallallahu
Yeah,
alaihi wasallam.
sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Brother Suhail, I have a question.
Yes.
I noticed that all the words are similar and they repeat the same way. Is there the first letter after the agent starts with a ta, and then the second one follows afterwards and starts with the alif? Is there like
Yes. Yeah, so basically this is a conditional statement. It doesn't necessarily have to be this. It could be but for example, it's because of the type of example that I have. It is because of the meaning in the example. For example, when I say anna taqra aqra, I'm saying whenever you read, I will read. Basically, this ta indicates that I'm talking to the second person, and aqra, this hamza, indicates that I'm talking about myself. However you read, taqra, aqra, I will read. And this is basically the how you would make an imperfect verb directed to a second person, and this is how you would direct it to yourself. But I could have, for example, in this example here, ayana here, the verb starts with a ya, and the second verb starts with a ta, right? Why? Because the example is different. I'm saying whenever the day of judgment comes, you will be judged. So it all depends on like what example I bring. I can actually play around and bring different examples. The important part is they both have to be imperfect verbs, regardless of whether those imperfect verbs are for the second person, third person, or the first person. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good question. Yes, for example, I could say كيفما, instead of saying ta, using ta, I could say كيفما يصلي أصلي, like that. However he prays, I will pray. However he prays, I will pray. However he prays, I will pray. Now here I shouldn't put a sukun, I should put a kasra. However he prays, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, I will pray. Now here we have a ya. See, because I changed the example. Instead of saying however you pray, I decided to say however he prays, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I will pray. Now what is the sign of jazm here?
There's no waw or elif, so that means that it's going to be a faulty letter, right? There's no faulty letter.
Yep. Very good, mashallah. Jazakumullah khairan. However he prays, I will pray. Okay. Next would be paste. 820. We have how many more? There's only one more left. Let me just delete this.
Sorry, brother. Quick question. Didn't you say there were 18 agents?
Yes, I will explain to you how it came out to be 20 in a sec. Yeah, it is confusing a little bit. So this is the last agent, and then we will be done with this chapter. We'll be done with the chapter of verbs, which requires a celebration. Now, either is a bit unique. Give me one sec. So either is also an agent of jazm, but it is not an agent of jazm that you and I can freely use in our statements. It is an agent of jazm in the speech of classical Arab, the ancient Arabs, so to speak, the Arabs in the old days. So if we see a poem, for example, or if we see one of the statements of all the Arabs of the previous generations, not 100 years ago, 200 ago, we were talking about like 1,000, 2,000 years ago. If you see any of their statements or poetry, it is possible that sometimes they use ida in a conditional statement, and they use it as an agent of jazm. So we basically we just go with it. We just realize that sometimes they have used it as an agent of jazm. But the thing is, we are not. It is not something for us to make a general rule, right? It is not something that we can just use whenever we want as an agent of jazm. Now, this understanding why this is kind of confusing, but just for now, know that is the basic concept behind whenever we say if we say something is sama'i, meaning it is we just hear it from the Arabs. We don't make a general rule from it. And then it means we cannot just come up use it in our day-to-day speech. But when we say something is qiyasi, meaning there's a general rule to it, that means we can use it whenever we speak. We can use it as well. So the example that they have for ida, I'll give you that example in a sec. Let me see. I haven't memorized it, so I have to look at the book. Nah. So this is the example. It's a poem. It says, استغني ما أغناك ربك بالغنى فإذا تصبك خصاصة فتجملي. He says, استغني ما أغناك ربك بالغنى فإذا تصبك خصاصة فتجملي. No. So he says, take advantage take advantage of whenever Allah Azza wa Jal gives you riches, meaning gives you good basically riches here doesn't just mean wealth. It means good health, it means a good family, it means a good environment, like a safe environment. So whenever you are in this state, take advantage of it. Always be God conscious, always make shukr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And whenever a hardship falls upon you, be patient. Be patient. Okay, so here what you should pay attention to is the second part of the poem, which says وَإِذَا تصبك Okay. Now something else here may confuse you, but I'll try to explain that. Okay, فإذا تصبك خصاصة فتجملي. Here we have two verbs. تصبك فتجملي. What does تصبك means? It means whenever falls upon you or reaches you a calamity, be patient. تصبك, what is the sign of jazm here? Obviously, this is the agent of jazm. إذا is what we're talking about, right? إذا is the agent of jazm. What is تصبك? What is the sign of jazm here?
It's a sukoon.
Yes, exactly. It's a sukun. Give me 1 sec. Yeah. And what is the sign of jazm here? It's a trick question.
Faulty letters.
Yes, that would be the correct answer under normal conditions. But we were talking about a poem, and one of the things about poems is that sometimes to make things rhyme, and sometimes so it follows the same meter. Some exceptions are made. And here, fatajammal, it's actually with a sukun. It should be with a sukun. But because of the meter of the poem, so it follows a particular meter, we're adding a kasra here, or the poet has added a kasra. So that's one of the things you may see in Arabic poetry sometimes. There are like for darura. Yes, brother Khadruddin.
So in this case, like for poems, like how will you know like if it's a poem? Then if like well, is this in the case of jazm? If it was
No,
a
this
poem,
actually so basically at this point, I will definitely not expect you. No one will expect you to understand when in a poem something is done as as an exception or it's following a rule. Because to know that, to know like whether a poem is breaking rules or not, you need to have very good understanding of the Arabic language, which I personally, I myself do not have enough knowledge of the Arabic language to understand everything that everything that is done in a poem by the poet. So these are like really these are Arab poets that know their language. So at this point, you don't have to know, but once you become well versed in Arabic, you automatically will know when a rule is being broken or not.
uh, what's interesting is I don't know if this is like just like for me like understanding, but all the examples that you've given so far, I've noticed that each one of them, like each like sentence ended with a sukoon for like in jazm in this case. Is that a indication that this was going to be sukoon in that sense?
Okay, so yeah, that's a good observation. That is a very good observation, but that's not necessarily a must for, because like I said, it depends on the type of example that I bring. For example, here the example that I gave, it ends with a kasra, right? Which means it's one of the faulty verbs,
Yeah.
or the verbs that has, yeah. So it all depends on the example that I give. But here, here basically, if this verb ended with the one of the faulty letters, then this would be right. This wouldn't be breaking any rules. But because it doesn't, it actually ends with this lam. That means it
Yeah.
is breaking the rules.
Yeah, that's the interesting part, because if it was the faulty letter, then it would have had a kasra at the end, but in this case it didn't, and that means
Yeah.
that it's ambiguous, like it's ambiguous in that sense. And if I remember correctly, like from when I was younger and I was learning, uh, like learning Arabic letters, like another way of like doing sukoon is not like not having any haraka at all. So I don't know if that's
Yeah. Yeah, that's so basically not has sukun is not having any oh, you mean like in writing?
yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not sure, like I think when there is no haraka, it means you don't pronounce it at all. For example, when there's alif and lam and it's the shamsi word, you just ignore the lam is written, but you just ignore it when you pronounce it. So there is no sukun on it. So when you say ash-shams, idha ash-shamsu kuwirat, if you look at the verse in the Quran, you will see that the lam of al-shams doesn't have a sukun on it, and you don't even pronounce it. So, but that's a different. I think that's different from a sukun. A sukun will basically, you will pronounce the letter, but you will not give it any diacritical marks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So
just knowing in this case, the end of the sentence, if it was if it omitted faulty letters, then it would have had a kasra as
yeah,
like
yeah,
indication. But since it didn't have, then we know that this is not something that we know yet, at
yeah,
least. So that's
exactly.
so
Basically,
that was a
yeah,
I gotcha.
yeah. That's it. That's it. Good, good. Yeah. Okay, so I think that is it for we are done with the agents of Jazm. Now let me go back. Let's go ahead and count them to see whether we'll get 18 back. T1. T1. Yes. Oh, did I translate it? No. Whenever. I'll just translate the second part of the poem. Whenever you are touched by a calamity, be patient. Okay. Now let's go back and count these. The first one is lam. Right, I'm gonna look at my book as well to make sure I didn't miss anything. So the first one is lam. The second one is lamma. The third one is alam. The fourth one is alamma. The fifth one is lamul amri. So here in the book, the author treated lamul amr and lamul dua as one. So basically, he treated lamul amr, meaning the lam, the imperative lam, and the lam of dua or supplication or request. He treated them as one, but we treated them as two here because they have different meanings, right? So I will keep it as should we, what should we do? Actually, let's, so that's 5. I guess what we can do is just do this. Maybe that will make it more clear. Yeah, I think that's what we will do. So in that case, this would be 6. This would be 7. This would be 6. This would be 7. Okay, and the same thing with la. Basically, we said there's law of prohibition and the law of request. Again, here this would be just one, but two different meanings. So we would just have 6, right? So up until now we have 6. That's how he has it counted in the book.
Brother Sahel,
Yeah.
I have like a question. It's not like it's a question that's like not me being impatient. It's more like just out of curiosity. Uh, we're on the 3rd chapter, right? And then how many chapters are there in this book in particular?
So this is the chapter of, and then we have actually more than half left. I don't know exactly how many chapters, to be honest with you. It's quite maybe, I don't know, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 6, 12. It's about maybe like more than 25, maybe more than 25. But the thing is, as I said, the chapter of Arab was the longest chapter of all the chapters. So I can tell you that we are more than one third into the book. So
honestly, it doesn't feel that long, to be honest with you.
what doesn't feel long? How long you have taken?
Yeah, like how long we've been doing this, it doesn't feel like that long. Like
Yeah. So we have been taking it slowly. But yeah. I mean, it's, I guess, when, at least for me, when I enjoy something, it doesn't feel like long. Inshallah, you're enjoying this. That's why
yeah,
you're
I'm
feeling this
enjoying
way.
it.
Yeah, Sheikh,
Alhamdulillah.
forward to this class. I truly love this gathering, Sheikh.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you, brother Marajan.
Sheikh, I was saying I'm too enjoying this class and I look forward to this class every week.
Alhamdulillah. That's good. That's a good sign.
Yeah, Sheikh.
May Allah reward and bless you. So here, based on our new count, this would be 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Yeah. So regardless of how we counted, the author has actually 19 in the book. The author has 19 in the book, which which is fine. Just gonna make our job a bit more difficult when trying to find the count, but we'll figure out what I'll explain to you what why maybe the reason that he says 18 but he has 19 listed. So that's 9. Actually, so this is before we continue, because this is being recorded, we're pretty much done with the actual class. I'm just fixing the numbering. So instead of recording this, inshallah, we'll stop. So basically, quickly, I believe the reason that we have 18 and not basically he says 18, but there are 19 in the book, is because either because as I told you guys, this either is only only an agent of jazm when Arabs use it in their poetry. So it wouldn't really apply to us, because as people who want to understand Arabic and use Arabic words in their day-to-day language, we would not be using either as an agent of jazm, right? So this would not apply to us. So in that sense, this would be right. How many? 18. Without either, this would be there would be 18 agents of jazm. So so this may be one of the reasons. Brother Khadruddin, do you mind if we if you ask your question after we stop the recording?
Yes.
Okay.
It's fine.
Unless your question is related to the topic, today's topic. If you think it will be helpful to everyone else, let's ask it. If not, we'll do it after the recording.
Yeah, it has to do with the poetry a little bit.
So go ahead. Yeah. What is the question?
In this case, like in Arabic poetry, it's like just to be I guess you could say fancy. Like they use certain words like this, like in jazm in this case.
Yeah, so basically to be for in poetry there are meters, like there are different meters that you can write poetry in, which make it sound nice. And the reason there are sometimes the rules are broken in Arabic poetry and also in Persian poetry and Kurdish poetry. I'm not sure about Somali or Bangladeshi poetry, but so sometimes rules are broken so that it may retain its melodic effect, or its song like nature, right? So so basically in Arabic poetry, the reason they do that is so that the meter is kept, or so that it rhymes, right? That's the
Yeah,
reason that the rules are broken. Does that make sense?
yes, that makes total sense actually.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's something that it is done in English poetry. I'm not. I don't recall any poems in English where like uh, English grammar is the rules of English grammar are broken
Yeah.
for the poem to follow a meter. But you never know. So that's, inshallah, we'll conclude here, and then we'll ask any unrelated questions after the recording. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه أجمعين آمين.